Half a day, everybody. I'm Jason Salas, your 671 sports nerd here. And anytime you get to hang out with visitors to our island who are experts and passionate about the greatest game there is in the entire world, that's a good way to start your day. So I am joined here by two wonderful coaches, Coach Tisha and Coach Jessica. They are joining us on island to host a softball clinic. They're also going to handle the workshop that our friends at Guam Amateur Baseball are putting on Friday, and that is to get athletes to be their very best. But half a day to you both. It's very good to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, awesome. And I see you already got the swamp hat, which is really good these days because the weather's been kind of funky.
Yes, I hear it's warm and it's rainy, so I was like, let's bring it out.
Very, very good choice. Okay, so anytime we hear sports clinic, I'm all in. You had me at hello. So specifically to softball, what levels of development are we talking about? Is this only like I don't want to say merely, but is this specifically like a pitcher's clinic, a hitter's clinic, an outfielder's clinic, or are we looking to develop like five tool athletes?
So we are starting with fundamentals on day one. We're talking about throwing. We're talking about a good warm up. We're talking about infield, outfield dailies, like things that we would do on a daily basis to get better and get more reps. And then we're going to focus infield, outfield, focus on hitting and base running day one. We are not going to touch pitching and catching, but if people have questions, like in lunch, I know we have a pretty long break for lunch. We're opening up to people to come and talk to us about pitching and catching. If they have specific questions about that, because we weren't
Okay.
sure who does pitching, who does catching, and just kind of trying to get a feel for it.
Very nice. There's some very, very good softball pitchers here.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah,
Good.
I think our big goal was to just kind of touch base on the total package because I know like when we coach, we put a lot of emphasis on versatility and being able to play multiple positions and that kind of thing. So we're gonna try to keep it as like versatile as possible. So we'll touch base on specific positions, but it's so everybody learns everything we can possibly cram into 2 days. So
Very nice. So it is going to be very, 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 very focused. It's kind of like a boot camp, and sometimes that's the best way to learn. If you're an athlete, you get the kitchen sink thrown at you, and you learn the best way that way.
exactly, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Now may I ask? And by the way, I love the North Carolina accent. That's
What
awesome.
gave it away?
We
We
have
we
an
hope we hope that we hope that upon completion of your trip here to Guam that you guys would pick up like a little bit of the Chamorro accent, but we'll catch up with you guys like at the end of the weekend. We'll see how that's going.
Right.
Um,
Right.
now, even though I got I've been playing sports since I was like a little kid, right? I also played guitar since I was a youngster, right? And I've always believed I played a bunch of instruments before I finally settled on guitar, and I kind of thought that there was kind of this spiritual connection where it's not the person that picks the instrument, it's the instrument that chooses the person. When it comes to softball, because I know I've covered some clinics and some kids run up and they're like, the outfield seems really, really fun, but then, coach is telling me I do better in the infield and everything. How do you kind of like tell, young athletes about, what position they might be better at?
So I'm biased to the outfield. That's what I played. So I'm going to tell everyone outfield is amazing and you need
Nice.
to join. I call this grass fairies. So
You're the defensive
um,
captain. That takes a certain mindset.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's interesting because outfield a lot of times is seen as like like you're not that good if you play the outfield. And I think that starts from a young age. Like they'll put the kids that are like quote unquote better in the infield because there's more balls. But as you get older, my opinion is that outfield is more important because
Yeah.
you might have a game where only one ball goes out there. And if you make that play, that can make a difference between winning and losing a game. And
Hmm.
so I tell people that outfield is a great place to be. Like I'm going to show you how to field some ground balls, throw some people out, catch all the fly balls. So that's my opinion when it comes to that. But I think just in general, like softball gives like this, like, I don't even know how to put it. Like, I guess what you said about playing the guitar of like, it picked you. Like, I really
Yeah.
think softball picked me. Like, I tell people all the time that it saved me.
Nice.
Yeah.
I love that.
I definitely, yeah, I feel that. I played multiple sports growing up, but softball was like, that was the one that I put the most time into and everything. But I think from like a coaching standpoint, a lot of it has to do too with what they feel confident in. Like if they feel confident in a certain place or they feel better at a certain thing, like they're going to perform better in that place. Like I was a pitcher not I will not tell everybody that they can be a pitcher, but but some people can, and if they work at it, they certainly can. But I think it has a lot to do with their mindset when they're playing it and how well they feel that they can accomplish it while they're out there.
Right on. Okay, now if I may tap your both of your wisdom for a second, because here on the island, and you're going to see this at the clinic, is that because of our climate and because we've got this wonderful weather like year round, and by the way, we have got the best sunsets in the world, bar none. Like, and you've probably already seen that when you came in last night, right? Um, we have so many youth athletes here who get started from a very young age. We've got, kids that are 8 and 9 doing triathlons. We've got kids doing jujitsu when they're really, really little kids. We've got kids in youth football. And there's like a lot of cross training. For kids that are just considering softball or coming into softball for the first time, how would you talk to them about, some of the cross training benefits and, like if they do play football already or if they do, run like little 5Ks for kids and everything like that. What does incorporating softball into their athletic resume, what can that do for them and help their other games too?
I personally love it when kids play all sports. Like whenever someone plays just one sport, I always encourage them to do something else. Because like sometimes whenever you overthink something, like specifically with softball, like you're using a lot of the same muscles, a lot of the same movements, whereas like other sports, it allows you to use a bunch of different muscles, a bunch of different motions, and so it makes you more of a well-rounded athlete. I really think softball and can really help people improve their hand-eye coordination. I feel like that's the biggest thing, because it's not a lot of like endurance, if you will. Like, I mean, we're going 60 feet at a time, but there is like this mental endurance that comes along with it because there's a lot of sit down time. I heard a college coach one time tell me that there was a game that she had clocked and it was a 2.5 hour game. And in that 2.5 hours, it was roughly 3 minutes of the ball actually being in play. And so there's a lot of downtime. And so I would say definitely the mental aspect is
For
a big
sure.
difference.
I
It's like
think
being a soccer goalie. You could stand basically in net for, more than an hour, and then 3 seconds you're expected to like, be the greatest athlete on the planet.
right,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah, it's definitely it's also a game of failure more so than some other sports. Like,
Mm.
you can get a hit 3 out of 10 times and it's been a good day. So you failed more than you succeeded, which in some sports that's not always the case to having a good day. So I think it is good from a mental standpoint and hand-eye coordination, like Tisha said. So it's good to just be an athlete and then you can take that athleticism into whatever sport you want.
That's really cool because you don't hear that angle about, it is a game of failure and that's an okay thing. Like if you're batting 1,000, you've definitely got a career ahead of you. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Superhuman.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now one thing, and Coach Jess, you also talked on the mental health aspect, and that was a wonderful segue because I also wanted to talk about the intangibles of playing softball. And softball is a completely different sport if you've ever played like baseball at any level because there's these, especially for the female game, there's these wonderful cheers and there's this camaraderie, and it's such a wonderful positive environment. It's inclusive to be around. Now talk about what you're going to talk to the athletes about being a good teammate and contributing to the larger goal.
So I think that one thing that's very important for us to keep in mind when we're playing with any sport, especially with softball, with so many failures being involved, is being able to control what we can control. And being a good teammate is 100% one of those things. Your team chemistry goes a long way on the field. And it's funny, I was actually reading a book called Intangibles on the plane on the way here. But so it's one of those things that like your team chemistry is built on trust, and it's not so much that you trust your teammate to succeed, it's you trust them to have your back when you don't. So it's one of those things that like just believing in each other and having each other's backs goes a long way in being successful on the field because you know that you're going to mess up at some point or another. Like striking out is a pretty normal thing. So we have to know how to pick each other up and recover afterwards and keep going because you don't look at the scoreboard and focus on the numbers on the scoreboard to win a game. You have to focus on the little things that happen in the game to win it. So we have to stay in the moment and support each other.
That's beautiful. And the aspect of trust that applies at any level of softball you play, all the way up to, Division I college, from, from the little peewees and the ones who do it, like on the weekends. And the trust is so essential. Okay, so I am in, and I know so many of my fellow Guamanians are in right now. Let's talk about registration and how people can be able to avail of just what's going to be a really fun weekend.
Yeah, I think there's been a sign up that Bill has put together, and on the day of, as people come in, I know we're going to have a table for people to check in, get their names, give them. I know I personally am like handing out some stickers, but I think it's all online, from my
Got it.
understanding.
Yeah, we haven't been super involved in the registration process, just what's going to happen when we get here. And our numbers are really good so far. Like, we're super excited. I know the last time they updated us, we have like 75 signed up for the clinic and the seminar. So it's awesome.
Very cool. And we're supposed to have really good weather because, I work in the news and I keep an eye on that kind of thing. Good weather this
Thank
weekend. So
you.
Good.
Oh,
We've been praying for good weather.
Right.
well, Coach Tisha, bring that swamp hat though, because it will get hot though. Good weather
Oh,
here
I
means,
guess
sunshine.
it's kind of my signature, if you will. So I'm bringing.
Okay, and again, we're talking, the levels of play, and this is young boys, young girls. Are we even talking about like females that playing softball at the high school level? Because we got some really, really good teams. The high school, the girls' high school league here is
Yeah,
very
so
competitive.
it's middle school and high school age girls for the clinic. So
Okay.
yeah, so and we're gonna try to. One thing that I personally love to do with like when I do clinics and stuff is really challenge kids and put them in uncomfortable situations that they probably haven't been in before, just so they learn how to respond to it. Because that's how we get better, is getting pushed out of our comfort zone and challenged to do something new. And being able to respond to that in a positive way says a lot about your ability to grow as an athlete. So I think that's one thing that we're going to try to do, is challenge them, learn with them, learn from them while they're here, and give them some challenges to compete against each other and put that component into it too.
Okay, and then of course, because a team is not just the players themselves, I mean, the coaches, the dugout, the people who set up the lights and everything, that's also cool. But especially at the youth level, parental involvement is so key. So do you have any message for like moms and dads and godmothers and godparents and grandparents about, making sure that you can be part of your young athletes' maturation process?
Yeah, I feel like that could be like a whole segment.
Yes, it
Oh yeah.
definitely.
Okay, how about like a little snapshot, because we also want people to go to the workshop too, because
Right.
that seminar at Friday at the Nico is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we're pretty pumped about it. And that's for anyone that wants to come and hear about recruiting and hear about mental performance. It won't be softball specific. I mean, there'll probably be hints of softball throughout it just because that's what we feel we're experts in. But definitely talking about sports across the board. But yeah, I would say with parents, like, just I don't even know how to express this. Like, I recently heard someone say that, like, as a parent with your own child, like, you are a coach in their life, in the sense of like, you can be there for support, show them the way, give them things or tools to be better at life as a whole. But ultimately, like, they're the one performing in the game. And so you don't have control over that. And so, especially whenever they get done with games, done with practice, like, be a listening ear, hear what they have to say, and just be supportive in that, and like hearing them.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
I would say definitely be mindful of the car ride home. Like that's the thing that typically makes and breaks kids if they want to continue playing or not. And when they have a bad game or they mess up, there's probably nothing that you can tell them that they haven't already told themselves 10 times worse. And so it's important to just, be supportive and listen to what they have to say versus trying to tell them all the things that they did wrong. They know, and they'll figure it out. But teach them that it's okay to make mistakes, and it's more how you recover from it. Because I think a lot of, at least from kids that I work with, they feel a lot of pressure from their parents. They put a lot of emphasis on wanting to impress their parents and make them proud, and they don't want to let them down, and that puts a lot of pressure on that kid to perform. So I think that it's important that parents just make it clear to them that they love them for the human that they are, not the athlete that they are, and their performance is not tied to their self-worth. So even if they have a terrible game on the field, they're still that same wonderful child, and that's okay. Like, everybody's going to have a bad day. So I think it's important that we make it clear to them that they can still be amazing humans and have a bad day on the ball field and have a good one later.
And I think that is also the key reason why, like baseball and softball as America's pastimes, one of our greatest traditions is as soon as the game's over at the youth level, everybody goes out for pizza together. Literally.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love
that's
that.
super awesome.
I've got good memories of that. Like going to get pizza with all my teammates and my cousins. That was awesome. Okay, so I am so super stoked for this. I'll give you each like final push for what youth athletes and people that love the game or people just discovering the game are going to get out of this. Not just a clinic, not just a chance to interact with people and discover the game, but truly a sports experience.
Yeah. I just know as we were putting things together, we really wanted people like things to take away, like they physically can do tomorrow to get better at softball or to get better at their mental performance. And so there's going to be like little nuggets throughout of exercises or activities or drills that they physically can take away from it, from like the physical side and the mental side.
Especially things that they can do on their own, like that they don't necessarily need like a team practice or somebody to help them, like things that they can do on their own to make themselves better, even if it's just a little bit every day. And I think, especially from the seminar side of things, one very important aspect of it is that the stuff that we're going to be talking about is just important for life as a human, not just an athlete. So, like the mental side, the recruiting side, because even if it's not necessarily to go to college and play sports, you still have to know how to communicate and market yourself in the job market, so it's all very important stuff for just going into the real world as an adult.
Exactly. So it's developing the athlete and it's character building for the human, as you just said, and that is a wonderful thing. Like, all right, coaches, we are so blessed to have the both of you here, and we greatly look forward to availing of your wisdom and just showing you a good time as island host here. And we hope you have a wonderful trip, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
All right, thanks so much.